Hey everyone, and welcome back to OntarioCryptids. First off, I would like to say there will be some coarse language, but not many. And I can hear the furnace blaring overhead, so hopefully the mic will not pick it up. Now, before I get started, I don't know where you guys live around the world, but here in the big TO of Ontario, it is cold. We are hitting some -degree weathers here, so hopefully everyone is staying nice and warm and cozy. And speaking of cozy, well, we'll just add the cozy a little bit later on in the introduction here. Okay, let's get started. Today I have 3 stories to share with you all. We are changing things up a bit, and in most of these stories, the person having the encounter is unaware of what they just witnessed. So chime in and give us your thoughts as to what they may have encountered. If these stories remind you of an incident that you may have had, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com, where it can be shared in a safe environment. Okay, here comes the cozy part. Go grab yourself a beverage and get cozy in your favorite spot and sit back and relax. This first encounter takes place on August 2021 in Scott County, Minnesota, and the nearest city is Shakopee. And I hope I said that correctly. I live in Minnesota and had an encounter in August of 2021 near a burial ground. The burial ground also contains unmarked Indian remains nearby. It was just after dusk, and my friend and I were leaving a fishing spot near the river. We saw what looked like a very large animal on 4 legs. Its body was white, and the eyes were either very reflective from my headlamp or glowing white. It looked larger than a wolf, but unnaturally skinny. It stared at us, and we both felt like it wanted to attack us. I yelled at it to try and scare it away, but it yelled back in what sounded like my voice. That was the moment when I realized it was not an animal. We were able to walk away, and it never attacked us. We both walked back to the car without saying a word. Once we got back to the car, I think we realized we were safe again. I asked my friend, "Did you hear that thing yell back at me?" She said she did. And she heard it say, she said she did hear it and said it sounded like my voice when it responded back. If I had been by myself, I would have wondered if I imagined the part where it mimicked me. We both had the same experience. The only difference is that I was unable to make out any facial features because its eyes were so bright. She said it appeared to have a wolf-like head. We were both in shock. Neither of us had ever experienced anything like that. I was super paranoid when I went out fishing for the next several months and refused to go back to that area. My friend is Hmong, and her family had a shaman do some sort of cleansing. We were both in shock. Neither of us had ever experienced anything like that. I was super paranoid when I went out fishing for the next several months, and I refused to go back to that area. My friend is Hmong, and her family had a shaman do some sort of cleansing. They believe it was some sort of evil spirit. Could this be a Dogman? From what I read, it sounds similar. The second encounter takes place on November 2020 in Franklin County, Arkansas, and it takes place in the Ozark Mountains. A little detail first. I live in the Ozark Mountains. I have about 63 acres of land on the mountain, and I'm about 20 minutes from both towns near me. My house was originally a cabin built in the 1800s that someone had built onto. I don't have much more knowledge of the house because all the paperwork burnt in a courthouse fire. Weird shit has always happened in and around the house, but those are stories for a different time. Last year, around November, I had a huge argument with my husband and decided to go hike up the mountain to cool off. My husband went to work on his Jeep, and my 5 dogs and I went up the mountain. Normally, my dogs run around through the trees, but they always keep me in their sights. This time, they stuck very close to me. I noted it and just assumed it was because they knew how upset I was. We made it to the clearing and it just seemed so still up there. I felt a little uneasy, but I ignored it and climbed up our deer stand. I sat up there for about 20 minutes and took some pictures. And I looked down to see my dogs at the base of the tree standing in different directions in an alert stance. The feeling of dread washed over me. I scrambled down the deer stand and walked across the clearing with my dogs in tow. I did not want to run because we have predators. All of a sudden, I could hear loud whistling. I stopped in my tracks. My dogs are now on high alert and all staring behind me to the left. My husband's voice came from that direction, and he was screaming my name like something was wrong. I cannot describe the fear that came over me. I continued to walk down the mountain, and I walked over to my husband and asked him what was wrong. He looked at me confused and told me he had no idea what I was talking about. I kind of forgot about this moment until today. I woke up to loud whistling outside of my house around 4:40 to 5 a.m. It was the same whistle I used to call my dogs home. Part of the whistle was wrong. All my dogs were inside and my husband was still asleep. Part of me told myself to go check it out, but a voice in my head said to stay in bed, and I listened to the voice. These past few days have been quiet. Our 2 male dogs have refused to go inside except to eat. They have been guarding the house. I have started to carry a firearm with me, especially at night. I try not to go outside while it's dark out. It feels like I'm being watched. The last story of the day takes place on October 11th, 2020, and there were several encounters that happened a couple weeks apart. This takes place in the Mojave Desert in California, and the nearest town is Baker. I was responding to a call in the middle of the Mojave Desert around 10 p.m. on a lonely road that leads to Pahrump, Nevada. I was driving, and I see to my left a human-like figure running through the desert. The man-shaped creature was all black and appeared to be running like 30 miles per hour. I turned on my lights and pointed it in that direction, but it vanished. I freaked out a bit and called my girl, and I told myself, I'm new to the area. I'm probably just afraid and tripping out. I handled my call and forgot that it happened. 2 weeks later, I responded to a call with my partner who was driving his own patrol car. My partner arrested a guy in a car, so I waited with the suspect's car until the tow truck driver arrived. I sat in my car in the darkness. No biggie. I see the tow driver in the distance heading my way. As he arrives, the tow driver immediately comes to my car and says, "Are you all right?" I say, "I'm fine," and he says, "I wanted to come and check on you because I just saw a man running away from your car." I say, "Shut the fuck up, bro." He says, "Yeah, it looked like a tall man wearing all black running full speed away from your car." I tell him to get into my car, and he and I go search for the guy, but don't see anything. At this point, I go back to the office and I share my experience. They think I'm crazy. A few weeks goes by. and I'm on a call of a traffic collision with parties ejected. After clearing the scene, I walk back to my car. I hear some screams for help near my car. I start to yell, "Where are you?" and point my flashlight. I see nothing. A partner who was near me also hears them. We both go searching, but the screams stop and never found anything. There you have it, 3 encounter stories, and all of them are bizarre to say the least. These all could be 3 different types of cryptids. One does sound a little like the Dogman. The other 2, well, I'm not quite sure. But what do you think? I hope you all enjoyed these stories today. And speaking of stories, if you had an encounter that you would like to get off your chest, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be more than honored to share your story on this channel. Oh, and before I let you go, just one more thing. I did accidentally do a stream this week. Don't look at it. There's nothing there but a white static. There's no audio, no nothing. That was purely done by accident, but I keep on seeing people are viewing it. Don't waste your time. There's nothing there. Thank you all for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit that like button, and on your way out, smash that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. And one thing I keep on forgetting to tell you guys is to turn on that notification bell so that each week you know exactly when my episodes are uploaded. Anyways, have a great weekend, and I hope to see you all next week right here on Ontario Cryptids.